What's up? Hello, 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 and welcome. My name is Sabrina Victoria. I am here with Her Talk Show. Thank you so much for being here, hanging out with us, coming on live. We're super excited. We have Leisa here. We're going to be talking all about the steady stream of speaking referrals. How do we do that? How do we get a steady stream coming at us? So get comfortable as we explore the triumphs, the challenges faced by women worldwide within this arena. We're going to be offering insights. We're going to be offering inspiration to fuel your professional growth. So super excited about this. Let's jump in.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
If you're listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love in the comments. We're here every single day, delving deep into the realms of health, wealth, and leadership with some of the most brilliant women globally. We've interviewed over 600 women, and today we are adding another one to the list as a speaker who has booked and delivered over 600 talks. Leisa Reid trains entrepreneurs how to get booked and stay booked. That's the key there as speakers. Leisa is the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now and the CEO of the International Speaker Network. On our show, she will share the number one secret she uses to get speaking gigs. Welcome, Leisa.
Hi, Sabrina. Woo woo. So excited to be here talking about speaking. Speaking.
I think this is the number one thing every time I hear, I would need more speaking gigs. I need more speaking gigs. How do I get more speaking gigs? Trying to get onto more stages. So this is so excited to be able to pick at your brain a little bit.
Pick away. I'm here
How
for
are
you.
we doing? How are we doing this? First of all, I'd love to know how long you've been doing this.
I started back as a speaker. I started in 2013, and this is for anyone out there who hasn't even gotten started speaking, but has it in their mind. Listen, I started with 0 speaking engagements, 0 clients, 0 email list. Okay. And here's some inspiration. So I was working for a personal development company. They taught me my first talk. So they had the content, and they had the product that I was selling was a workshop, a personal development workshop, and the pricing and everything. So there was some of the stuff wasn't in my hands, which was fine as a newbie because then I didn't have to make those choices. But my very first talk, how I got booked, I called someone that I knew who knew everybody, right? I'm like, let's call her Susie. Susie knows everyone. Maybe she could help me, right? I have this talk that I can't wait to give. So I call Susie up. She said, of course. In fact, I have a group of women who I need a speaker for them. And it was a small group. It was like 10 women all in this leadership role in a direct sales company. I go up to the little conference room. They had no idea it was my first talk. That's okay. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, but that's okay. I knew what I was doing. Like I had practiced, but I had never actually done it for real people. And 3 out of the 10 women signed up for my workshop, which was about $300. And then they went on and spent thousands, tens of thousands of dollars at that company. So I am letting everyone know here today, it's okay. You don't have to have a PhD. You don't have to have certifications. You just have to have something of value to offer and the courage to offer it.
I love this. And I know that our topic is the number one secret to steady stream of referrals, but you just mentioned something very important. And I'd love to just kind of go down this rabbit hole just for a moment.
Yeah.
I know that there's several different ways to get paid with speaking. And you mentioned that you were selling something. You can also get paid for the actual speech, right? You can get paid like hourly. You can get paid for a product. You can split. How do you navigate that? Do you have your favorite way of doing that? Is there another way that I didn't mention? Can we talk about that for a moment?
I have a different perspective on that whole topic than I hear about I get this question a lot, right? And so my perspective is this, and it's the chapter in my book. It's a module in my curriculum for my Speakers Training Academy. and it's what I coach my clients on. And that is, we talk about monetizing your speaking. So to your point, Sabrina, it's like, well, what does that look like for that person? Because everyone is coming with different experience. It might be corporate experience. You might have never had corporate experience. You might be working with HR professionals, or maybe you're a spiritual healer. Like, it's so dependent on the person's personality, what strategy, and their business, what strategy we're going to use to monetize. The good news is there's lots of ways you could do it. Like you had mentioned, many of those. I have a favorite for me because I know my personality and my business model, and I'll share that. But I don't like, for me, it's like when I work with my clients, I really want to help them figure out what's best for them, because that's the one they're going to use. Otherwise, if I say, well, you should be doing this or you should be doing it that way, and they are not comfortable, they're not going to do it. Okay.
Got it.
My personal favorite is something that an invitation, I call it, instead of a call to action, I call it an invitation to the next step.
Okay.
And usually I offer something for free or a very small fee, like $99 or something like that, because I like to feel like Oprah when I am speaking. I feel very energized by giving something. And I also know that for those people who want to take that invitation, take me up on the invitation, that means those are the people that are resonating the most with whatever whatever magic I'm throwing out there, they're picking that up. So to me, that just feels really good. I spent years selling something where, like, yep, put your credit card down, put that there, and I still do that sometimes as well. It's just not, to me, the most flowing way, but it works for a lot of people. Again, it so depends on the individual. And then, yes, of course, you can get paid speaking, but I like to think of it as you're always monetizing your speaking, whether you're getting, a fee on the upfront, or that you're getting clients in the room buying something right then, or they're buying something down the road. So to me, that's how I look at it.
Makes sense. And I appreciate that, actually. It does make more sense to whatever feels good for the person.
Yeah, like if you probably have a lot of people in your community who've never had sales background, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden they find out, oh, I want to do this thing I'm really good at. I want to help people. I want to, be a coach or a consultant or a service provider of some sort. What? I have to sell? Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm not here to. And so for people like that, we have to think, okay, how can we do this where it feels really aligned, feels yummy, feels delicious, instead of feel icky, like you want to take a shower after, right? That's not going to work. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, definitely. Totally makes sense. So you mentioned the beginning of our podcast that you started with nothing, no email
Yeah.
list,
Yep.
no speaking gigs,
No,
just
nothing.
zero on all levels. And
Yep.
I know that you also talk about that you don't have to necessarily cold call. You don't have to necessarily like Google search.
Yeah.
So how were you able
How do you do
to,
it?
what were the steps?
Well, so this non-Google searching method came from my first year of blood, sweat, and tears. That
Okay.
first year, 100% I was cold calling or cold emailing, cold whatevering, right? And looking under every rock and every nook and cranny to find speaking engagements. I had a topic that was what I call industry agnostic, meaning like I could speak to pretty much any audience, like moms, realtors, architects, engineers, you name it. So that was good. I was lucky in that regard. But I was not having the best time doing it. And I booked
Yeah.
83 speaking engagements. So in my first year. So I am not saying that cold calling does not work. Of course it works. It works. But I'm really into how do I feel when I do the thing that I really love doing, right?
Mhm.
So I try, okay, how can I make this so it's sustainable and I like it? And so I created a network along the way. Again, all this makes sense later. It wasn't like I was doing this. I didn't realize what was possible until, you go and create something. But I created a network, which is now the International Speaker Network. in that, I was like, gosh, I'm booking all these engagements. I bet other people are booking engagements too. What if we all got together and shared our ideas, just like you create community? It's like, oh, the power of community is so
Yeah.
uh, uh, amazing, but we
Yeah.
just think, oh, I can't, or that's too hard, or maybe that's not your gift. Maybe you want to belong to a community instead of creating a community. When I created that community, all of a sudden I'm surrounded by speakers who I can support and they can support me. And we're not counting, or, it's not mandatory. You have to give this many leads or anything like that. I had been
There's
to groups
no
like that
tit for
before.
tat.
No, I don't
Nope.
like that. That's just not my jam. Right. I'd rather be like, hey, I know this opportunity. And I want to give that to somebody. Now, I'm not saying there's no intention. Like it's just not there's no obligation, but there's definitely intention. I guess that's a
Got
better
it.
way of saying it.
Yeah.
And I had found that there were a few people who really stood out in that community that became really strong referral partners. And we're talking years now. And then now it's like, wait, I don't actually have to cold call or find the engagement. Somebody else already found it for me. And now all of a sudden, we've developed a relationship that allows for us to have a river flow, the river flowing through it here, so that it takes the load and the burden off of both of us. And then we add maybe another person, or I add another person into the mix. And so then it all just can flow really naturally. And then I started noticing, wow, it's a lot easier to book gigs. And each year I would still book 50, 60, 70 sometimes. I usually average about 40 a year now, but I also do a lot of podcasts as well. So, and yeah, no cold calling for 9 years, 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your first, I guess, action step would be find a community and or create a community.
Yeah. 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 Creating a community is a little bit more of a, that's a little bit bigger step
Yeah.
that I wouldn't suggest unless that's super in your heart and you are just really, that would fill your soul and it makes sense for your business. So stepping into a community that's already created, just like being on a podcast instead of creating a podcast, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
unless your heart is really in it, uh, I would recommend guesting. And I'm saying that as a podcast host. So I'm not saying don't have a podcast. I'm just saying be intentional about it. Yeah. So for me, it was the first step is find another speaker who is what I call your speaker soulmate. And I'll define that in a moment. But yes, putting yourself into a speaker community, if your goal is to become a speaker and get speaking engagements, being in a speaker community, gosh, you are literally swimming right down river with all it's so much easier than trying to do it by yourself. So, a speaker soulmate is somebody who speaks a similar frequency as you. They are someone so number 1. Number 2, someone you know, like, and trust. Doesn't mean you need to know them since kindergarten, but just that thank you, Nelia. Nelia? I love that name. Beautiful. So similar frequency as you, someone you know, like, and trust. That can happen really instantly, but you got to give it time, give it a little bit of testing the waters, just like dating. And then the third one is that you speak to a similar audience, but aren't speaking around the same topic. It's not that you couldn't partner with someone who speaks on a similar topic as you, but it makes it easier to refer because they're like, oh yeah, we just had you on. Now this is a great segue for this other person to come in. Yeah.
Totally makes sense. I can appreciate that. And I love I love the little side smirk about building a community. People don't realize how hard it is. Like even a
Yeah.
Facebook group. They're like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about creating a Facebook group." And in my head, I'm just like, "You don't even know. Like it is hard."
Yeah. And I think also to that point, it's easy to think like, look at someone else's success or their numbers and say, like, well, I want what they have. But they're not realizing maybe the hard work that went in or the years that went in. I mean, when I started, we started in 2013, meeting in person. I think we were like 6 people were there. And, we started on Meetup. Facebook Live wasn't even a thing. Like it didn't even exist when I started this group. So AI wasn't a thing. There's so many things that weren't a thing. But we've met the same time, same bat channel for 11 years.
No
But
chat
it's
GPT.
something that I love. No chat GPT. No. GTP. But now, and we incorporate and evolve, just like you've done the same with your community.
Yeah, so much. I also really appreciate how you're saying that. Like, it is what it is now, but like you didn't know what it was going to become. You were just like following the journey of wherever it was taking you. That's very much how my community has grown to where it is. It's like it just started as a little podcast I was doing on Wednesdays. I had no idea what I was doing.
And I think too, what you and I have in common is this desire to build community. If I was dropped into a village that I had to start from nothing, and they said, well, what would you do to make money, or like, how would you do this? And I would say, well, I'd go and find the people who are the connectors, who knows what's going on. And then I'd start a thing, and then I'd have everybody come to this thing. Like, I'm already going to make a community. Even in that scenario, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's not for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah, I totally get that for sure. Okay, so speaker soulmate, love that. So good. And then find or build your own community. Now, when people are first getting started, all doable stuff, totally get it, actionable.
Yeah, very doable.
Are you, or do you recommend? I'm very interested to know the answer to this because I have my thought process on it. You said that your story is you did do some direct messaging, some cold outreach, whatever it is. You wound up getting 83 your first year. Is that something that you recommend? Is there a way around that for people that just absolutely refuse? How do you guide people?
Yeah, I have yet to meet very many entrepreneurs who love that process. I call it a soul-sucking activity for a lot of people, because they just are like, oh, like all of a sudden the phone is super heavy, or they're just like they're scrubbing the grout in the tile in the bathroom before they're like going to. So we have to have like that real like come to Jesus moment of like, are you actually going to do this thing, or are you not? Are you just saying that you're going to do it, but you're not actually going to do it? And you don't become an entrepreneur to do stuff you don't love. You still got to do some stuff though. So if you're not going to be in a community and you're not going to collaborate with other people, then yeah, you're probably going to need to do some cold searching. But now we have Chat GPT. You could literally put in, and you got to limit it, because it'll, as it'll put out a bajillion, and then you're going to be, you're not going to do anything. So you could put in 10 associations in Pittsburgh that for salespeople. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like you narrow it down.
Yeah.
If you are speaking to associations, but if you're not, then you would have to put in something else. So you have to figure out like, what is your ideal audience, and then start there. What's your opinion on it? You said you had some thoughts.
Well, I get a lot of backlash on this because a lot of individuals don't want to do the work. Kind of like what you said, like you have to have a come to Jesus moment of like, do you actually want to do this, or do you not want to do this? And I think so many people are doing this whole new thing now that everyone's talking about, which is to be a wantrepreneur, not an actual entrepreneur. Like they want it, but don't want it bad enough. And I'm all about doing the hard stuff. Like my number one question all the time is like, what is the one thing that you are doing in your business that nobody else in your same niche is willing to do? Because if you aren't doing one thing that where you're just like, dude, no one else is fucking doing this shit, you're never going to make it to the next level. You're always just going to stay in that same little muck where everyone else is. They're just like in this little like muck. They're kind of like, but if you want to rise above that, where you're on actual concrete, skating around, having the time of your life, right? You got to get through all of that stuff by doing really hard things, like really hard things. You don't have to do it forever. That's what I keep talking about. You don't have to do it forever. but you do have to do it if
You
you
do
want to rise
something.
above the mud.
Yeah, you got to do something. And it doesn't just, all this doesn't just appear from nothing. It's kind of like when someone signs up for a direct sales company and they see the person who's, making $1 million a month and they're like, I want to do that. It doesn't magically happen. The person who made $1 million a month didn't just go, I signed up. Where's my money? Like, no, they had a system. They were
Yeah.
consistent. They asked the questions. They did the learning. They followed the system, whatever it was. So
Yeah.
same with, that's why I said, like with creating a community, you could get busy doing that. But if that's not going to bring in the dollars or you hate it, don't do it.
Yeah.
But find the thing that you love the most, right? When it comes to you have to do marketing and sales is part of the equation.
Yeah.
How you set that up for yourself, there's lots of ways.
Yeah.
So I'm all like, let's do the one that feels the most aligned with who you
Yeah.
are. That's why I like to do that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel as good.
100%. One of my guilty pleasures is watching real estate reality TV.
Mhm.
My favorite is like Selling Sunset, Selling the OC. It's like real estate reality TV,
Yeah.
basically. But anyways,
Like
there's just
luxury
one.
real estate reality shows.
Yes, I'm just so obsessed. Like, I'll just rewatch the same seasons over and over again. it's just everything about it is
I
just
live in
so
the
amazing.
OC. I live in the
And
OC, but
I just love it,
have
and
you
and
ever
I
seen the
and I
show?
watch it over and over again for multiple reasons. Like, I my long term is to eventually be in real estate, and be in that arena, and being able to purchase property.
Yeah.
Anyways, one of the things that was said during one of the episodes is they were like talking shit about each other. And one of the women was like, they, whoever they are, just want everything handed to them. They don't realize that I got to where I got to because I freaking went door to door for years.
Yeah.
They're like, I look great now. I got all the surgeries. I'm looking legit. I'm wearing all the really nice clothes and driving the really nice car. But like, I didn't just walk in here like this. I went door to door freaking for years, barely paying my rent, you know? So to your point, she didn't want to go door to door. No one wants to go door to door. But that's the things that she had to do in order to get to where she is now.
Yeah, and it's like you have to put a stake in the ground of like, what do I stand for? Sometimes that could be the hardest thing. That's when I
Yeah.
work with people on getting their talks ready to rock. It's like we figure out like what's the brilliance behind the eyes? Like what's underneath that you're not saying that you are dying to say. But you're maybe think, "Ooh, what if I say that? And what if people don't like that? And what's the marketplace want? What do people want to hear?" I'm like, "No, those are the wrong questions. What is your soul wisdom saying? You got to share this thing. It's
Yeah.
really important." And that's when we start to like, but you got to put your stake in the ground and say like, "I'm willing to say this thing. I'm willing to
Yeah.
share this." And that's what makes you, going back to your point of like really making yourself different, making yourself stand out, doing the thing that other people aren't doing. You can't come in like as a coach and be like, create a talk called, you know, something about mindset or like overcome your limiting beliefs. No, everybody's done it. It's you have to put your own stamp on it. It's
Yeah.
not that it's not true. I get it. It's true. You do want to overcome your limiting beliefs, but you still want to make sure that you are unique and different. You have your own spin on that. You have your own methodologies, beliefs, systems, whatever. That's what we're looking for in a
Yeah.
speaker.
Yeah. Tony Robbins. Have you ever been to a Tony Robbins seminar?
No, I've seen some of his work though. Yeah.
Some people love him, some people hate him. I'm obsessed. I'm a two-time firewalker. But anyways, in his course, Unleash the Power Within, the first thing he says is, welcome to my communication course. I didn't call it communication course. I called it Unleash the
Unleash
Power
your
Within.
power.
But
Exactly.
it's a freaking communication course. You just entered. Welcome.
Yeah, there you go.
To your point, you have to give them, what is that? Give them what they need, feed them what they
Oh,
want, and give them what they
give
need.
what they need. Yes, correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
so good. What do you recommend as far as individuals who are just stepping into this arena? They're here listening, by the way. Thank you so much for listening live. We appreciate all of you who are hanging out with us right now. If you are watching us on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay in there so we can send you some love a little bit later. People who are just stepping into the arena, they're hearing everything. They're like, I get it. I can find a speaker soulmate. I can step into some communities. I can try to do some cold calling and some Google searching. How do we release the imposter syndrome of I've never spoke before?
Well, the first step you need to take when you want to claim that title as a speaker or put it on your social media or look for speaking engagements, you have to have a talk. And it's not become a speaker, then create a talk. No, you have to have a talk, because if you say to anyone, "Oh, I'm a speaker," they are going to ask you, "What do you speak about?" Hello. And if you don't have that answer confidently, you're already like, "Oh, I hope nobody asks me." You're literally like pushing the opportunities away. So you want to be, I'm a big fan of get ready to be ready to say yes. Like, I want you to be able to
I love that.
speak in a boat with a goat, in a house with a mouse, because I want you to be able to like put me in, coach. That's what you want. You don't want to be like, "No, please don't pick me. Don't pick me. No, 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 don't ask me." You want to be ready to go. How do you do that? You got to
Absolutely.
decide, yeah, what are you going to talk about? And so that's why I start with people. We do it in the first 30 days because I'm like, listen, you'll make your slides up. You don't need to have all that. But you do need to have a talk like, what are you going to talk about? What's the title? What's the description? What's the learning points? Like, what's the meat of it? So that you can deliver that to someone if they say, "Oh, can you speak?" Now, you could put the slides together when you get the calendar, date on the calendar. That's fine. All that can come. And trust me, it comes really fast when you get bookings. All of a sudden, you get that done real quick. But that's got to be the first step.
I love it. So very generic as far as title, substance, meat, bullet points. Do we need to be practicing this? Like it's a 30-minute, 45-minute, 20-minute. What do you suggest with?
I definitely recommend practicing it. And practice is different for everyone. Again, we all have our own models of practice. But let me tell you, when you learn to tie your shoes, you had to practice. It didn't go so well the first time. You probably didn't make it, or you made a knot, or it fell apart. Same with speaking. People, again, kind of back to what we've been talking about, like, I just want to be a speaker and I'm really good at winging it and I'm really good at under pressure. No, you're not. That's just how you've been doing it. And it's not a good plan. Now, you don't need to memorize it. I'm not talking about the script. I'm not talking about memorizing it. I am talking about embodying it, putting it into so that you aren't worried about what you're going to say. Instead, your attention is on your audience, because that is
That's
really where we
great.
want to go.
That's
It comes with
great.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. I love this conversation around winging it and like I just let it organically come to me because I make fun of that because quite honestly, that's just
And it
shorthand
is.
for I did absolutely jack shit for this and didn't care enough
Yeah.
to put anything together.
And for the mystics out there and the spiritual people, I understand sometimes you can leave space in your talk for those moments. So
That's good.
you can intentionally leave space for, I want to be there for what's in the room. But you still need to have a plan, because otherwise you're like a tour guide just going, "We'll see where we go." No, no, no. I signed up for the tour to get me to the volcano. Like, I want to kiss the dolphins. That's where I'm trusting that you're going to get me to that place that I paid for, that I spent my time investing. So you're in charge of the safety of the room, whether it's
Yeah.
virtual or in person.
Yeah. That's great. Very cool.
Don't leave them stranded. Or they're
I
going,
love
"Where are
this.
we
I love
going?"
this. All right. So step 1 is have a talk.
There we go. Gotta have
We
a
have
talk.
to have the talk first. So
You gotta get a talk.
those of you listening, you can't go around saying you're a speaker until you have the talk.
Yeah,
And the
it's gonna
talk
make it
needs to
easier.
be practiced a little bit.
Yeah.
And a
And I'll
title.
say, yes. And when I work with people on that, what we do is, it's so fast. They can't even believe how quick it is. We birth their brilliance and we come up with a call to action, or like that invitation, the next step. We come up with the learning points, which is kind of the hardest part, to be honest. And then the description, that's the easiest part. And then the title. it's like the cherry on the cake. So we start at the end and end at the beginning. We don't
Got
do
it.
a title first because we don't even know what the talk's going to be yet.
Okay. So the
yeah.
learning points is like the value that you're giving to the audience.
Yeah. That's like the meat of it. It's just in one sentence, right? But we
Got
know, like in our speaker notes, we would have like, this is what, this is the case study we're going to do. This is the stats we're going to share. This is the story or whatever. Yeah, we're gonna put that in there.
I love it. Okay, cool. So that's step 1. Step 2 is
you got to identify your ideal audience. Here's the thing, just like being single, just because you're single and someone else is single does not mean you are a match. Does it? No, it does not. So you have to be like, where are my people? Where are my people hanging out? Are they entrepreneurs? Are they moms? Are they Christian? Are they Spanish speaking? Like, are they in corporate? Who are these people? And that will help you identify where, you're going to go search and what kind of referrals you're going to ask for. Otherwise, it's kind of like, well, I'm single. I'll date anyone who's single. Would you date anyone who's single? I don't think so. No, you would not. No, you would not. So don't be afraid to be.
One of my
specific.
newest realizations is you also aren't necessarily a match with every man who's nice.
Oh, no, not at all. That is like, no.
This is something I did not know. I found a nice guy. And my whole excuse every time was whenever I'm like, this isn't working, but he's so nice. But then finally I'm like, wait a minute, they're supposed to be nice. It didn't even occur to me that
that's a baseline. That's just like baseline model, right? You want to have doors on the car and you want the windows to roll up,
I remember really for real years in, I had the realization. I'm like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be nice. That's not the definitive factor for like getting married. It was insane, but this is the kind of stuff that we do. We don't necessarily recognize.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I have clients who like, well, a lot of your community, I'm sure, has that where you get inundated by opportunities online, right? Where it might seem like a good opportunity for you, like, oh, I don't want to miss that. And we have this fear of missing out. I should be on that show and I should pay for this and I should do this and I should do all these things. And so there's a power in really getting clear. These are the people that I speak to. This is what I speak on because this is what makes sense for my business. And it helps you from getting swayed or seduced by opportunities that really are not a fit for you. And we can really go back to that metaphor of the dating. Like I've been married for 10 years now, but there was a moment between my first divorce and then this marriage where I was single and I could feel myself getting seduced by a certain, if someone's really funny and smart, oh my gosh, to me, it's like you could do no wrong. And no, that's not true. You could be a horrible person and funny and smart.
Yeah.
So back to
a murderer.
Yeah, and a murderer. Well, hopefully not, but yeah. It's crazy.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so have a talk, know your ideal audience.
Yeah. And then the third thing is you need to have a clear invitation to the next step. And I know you work with people on this, Sabrina, too, but in sales, like in your business, right?
Yeah.
So many times when I'm helping someone get their talk ready to rock, the first thing we do is go, what's the invitation to the next step? And oftentimes this is the biggest challenge because we're so concerned with like what I'm going to say and all the content. That content is awesome. And it's going to be 95% of your talk. But if you do not have clarity on what the next step is, why did you do the talk in the first place? If you're building business, like if you're attracting your clients, you have to give them something to where they will find you, do this thing, buy something. I don't know whatever your thing is going to be. Like for me, I'll give tips out or I'll maybe a strategy session or something like that. So you have to give them something that they're going to do.
That's good.
And that can be scary, which is why people avoid it.
Is it CTA or is that not a CTA?
Yeah. It's a CTA. Yeah. Call to action.
Yeah. Invitation. Very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I love this. Can you tell us about the book in the background?
Oh, what? Just kidding. Yes. That's get speaking gigs now and learn how to what does it say? Learn the secrets to booking 500 plus speaking gigs, because that's at the time when I wrote it, we had about 500. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is
So
part of your teaching to have everything aligned, like the name of your book is the name of your website is
it really helps. It's something I heard someone told me one time. He's like, the trifecta is when your business name matches your book title, matches your talk. And I was like, what? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really smart. This was years ago, but way before I had this business. So when I had the business, I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't have the book until 7 years later, so it wasn't like I did it all at the same time. And even
yeah,
now, my talk these days is how to get speaking gigs now, but it wasn't for a long time. So it's nice branding. It's a good
it
idea.
is.
You can do it.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't
all
always
aligned.
work, but yeah.
All aligned. That's great. Well, this has been fabulous and fun, which has been great. Appreciate you coming on and sharing all of your treasures.
Aw.
Obviously, we have a really good idea of like who you are, what you do, but I'd love for you to talk a little bit about who should be reaching out to you. We have people listening right now. Who should be reaching out to you? Who do you specifically help?
Honestly, if you are listening and you're an entrepreneur, potentially a coach, consultant, heart-centered, purpose-driven type of a person, and you have been sensing that you want to be a speaker, like not a speaker full time, a speaker meaning you want to use public speaking to market your business and attract your clients, because you probably have something really important to share and an impact to make on people. But so you're having that dream, it's like happening, like maybe it's waking up in the middle of the night, but you're like, how do I do all that? Like, how does it actually work? Like, how do I get started? Those are the people who are best served in my speakers training academy, because we literally go through like, let's get your talk done. Let's create your call to action. Let's figure out how you're going to be as a speaker. Who are your ideal audiences? All the things, like all the questions that you have about how to set it up and how to make it happen. And then you can just do that for the rest of your career. It's so easy.
Mm,
So those are the people who really I work very well with.
love it. And then individuals who want more information, who maybe want to follow you on social media, where do
Yeah.
they
Yeah. You can go to getspeakinggigsnow.com/tips. That's getspeakinggigsnow.com/tips. And you'll get 5 top tips to get more speaking gigs. And, then we'll be connected via email. If you want to email me back, you can. You're welcome to if you have questions. And I'm on LinkedIn, and I don't I'm on Facebook, but it's probably not the best place to think. I'm almost at 5,000 people. So
go?
LinkedIn is better.
Is this what it is right here? Get
Yes.
speaking gigs
No,
now.
.com.
.com. Okay, hang on, peeps. Hang on.
Hold
Dot
tight,
com
everybody.
/ tips.
There we go. Yes, you got it.
Let's
Yay.
roll, ladies. All right. Well, dude, this has been absolutely phenomenal. For those of you listening live, for those of you listening on the replay, I know so many of you, you're all talking about speaking. Every single one of you's out here being like, I'm a speaker. I want to be a speaker. My ambition is to be a speaker. Well, here you go. Easy peasy. Leisa is here to follow. Lisa's here to chat with. Lisa's here to help coach. Make sure that you link up with her, drop into her DMs, send her a message, and connect with her. Any closing thoughts, Leisa, as we kind of wrap up here?
Oh, I just do what makes your heart sing. Honestly, that is when you feel that you're doing things that you hate, stop
That's good
and do
advice.
what makes your heart sing. Yeah.
That's good advice. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Leisa, for being here. We really appreciate it. I took a ton of notes. I certainly hope all y'all took a ton of notes. We appreciate all the wisdom that you shared. To our dedicated listeners that are still here all the way at the end, thank you so much for being here. We love you so much. Make sure to follow, like, and share this video because it helps all of us. And once again, my name is Sabrina Victoria. I invite you to join our amazing community, Her Nation, where we continue to uplift each other by having conversations just like this one every single day. Lisa's link is in the description below, wherever you are watching us at. And the Her Nation Facebook group is in the description below, wherever you are watching us at. We'd love for you to join us. Until next time,